Welcome back to Twisted Stitches. My name is Tammy. How's everybody doing? It is Friday. It is the 26th of February, 2021. I'm so glad you guys are here with me. I hope you had a wonderful week. This is a fiber arts podcast where I talk about crochet, knitting, fiber arts. I have mainly crocheted items, but I do have a few knitted items here to show and share with you. I talk about patterns and any changes, any complications, or if a pattern was totally great, simple, easy, I let you know. I always leave information in my description box for you guys to find the patterns that I talk about, or I talk about the patterns in general if it's a free pattern and, the information is free and available to anyone without purchase, that kind. Oh, of course, that's what it means, right? So on my channel, not only do I talk about, the fiber arts and everything, I do give you guys little stories, little life updates. Hey, what's going on with you guys? This is what's going on with me. So if you're new here, that's kind of what my channel is about. It's just a fun fiber arts podcast where we can chit chat, have a good time, and talk about our makes and what's going on and future makes, and keeping myself accountable and having wonderful friends like you to talk about my obsession with yarn, crocheting, and knitting, because I don't have many friends out there like that. They kind of give me those weird looks while I'm crocheting, like in public. Public display of crocheting and public display of knitting. So I come here and I have a place where my wonderful friends and I can discuss our projects and everything else. So if you're new here and you haven't subscribed, would you consider subscribing, hitting the like button, all that fun stuff? Do what you want. But if you subscribe, I'd appreciate it. So thank you guys. Okay, so on to the little chitter chat part that I usually do at the beginning. So it was a good week. We had some nicer weather here in Florida. Now, Friday after I talked to you guys on my podcast, I did my podcast, I filmed it, but then my daughter had gotten a hold of me, and with my daughter's work schedule, when I get a chance to go over there and visit with my youngest granddaughter, Ryleigh, which we'll be discussing today, I go. So that's why my podcast went up late, because I went to go visit with my daughter and my son-in-law and my youngest granddaughter, who, the grandkids, they always have your heart. They got you. It's worse than your own kids, honestly. I spoil my grandkids, I think, more than I spoiled my own kids, definitely. But isn't that what we're supposed to do as grandparents? Right? So anyway, I had a chance to go see my little Ryleigh and give her hugs and kisses and play a little bit with her and enjoy a little bit of my daughter's company. So that's why it went up later. Then I don't remember. Now, for the life of me, I can't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday, but I went for a motorcycle ride because it was a nice day. Both of those days were pretty good, but was it? I think I went Sunday because I knew it was going to rain, or there was a chance of rain on Monday. I think that's what I did. Yes, it was Sunday, as a matter of fact, because stores were closing at 6 o'clock, and Sunday is the only day that happened. Okay, so it was Sunday. So Sunday, went for a ride, enjoyed the day. It was a nice day outside. This here, now for all of you guys who are living in the cold tundra, the north right now, in your snow, don't think I'm rubbing anything in, okay? Because this is what I call my time. This is my nice time of the year, when it gets, where it's not so humid, it's not raining every day, it's not dying deathly hot. So this is when I kind of feel it's definitely backwards for us living in the deep south like we do compared to you all living up in the north, because when you guys are enjoying your outdoors, because your summertime, your springtime, late spring, early summer, and early fall are gorgeous for you guys. You guys can be out and about doing things and enjoying it. And I understand when wintertime comes, you guys, get cabin fever and everything. But I am the total opposite, polar opposite, if you will. in the very late fall to winter time is usually when it's nicest for me. That's when I like to get out and get about because it's not real humid. It usually doesn't rain a lot and it's usually nice and cool. So you're not walking out the door and just pouring down in sweat, because literally here from about middle of June through October, it is terrible. I mean, even May is warm, but once June hits, the humidity comes back like with a vengeance, and oh my gosh. So all of June, all of July, August, September, October. So I got 5 months, and it's coming up quickly, guys, in my next, so I have 5 months of almost unbearable heat, humidity, and just then we start getting the daily rains. I say all that just so you don't feel bad that I'm kind of enjoying my weather and talking to you about going for rides, because when you guys have your nicer weather, I'm going to be in my cabin fever, because that's when I get cabin fever, because I don't want to be outside in the hot, humid rainstorms, because we have horrible lightning here too, and I am very scared of lightning. So if it's outside and it starts lightning, I am looking for safe shelter somewhere, and home feels like a pretty good place to be, where it's air conditioned and maybe you have a fan blowing on you and there's no humidity. So please, when I talk about my little adventures, please understand where I'm coming from. I get to share this with you guys now. And then, you know, when you guys are having fun, I'll just be sitting here telling you about how crappy it was, and I'm sitting in my house having cabin fever, crocheting and knitting. So we're flipped, guys. Okay. It's been a pretty good week, and so now I get to share my huge whip with you guys today. So today, I only have to talk about one thing. It is the project that I'm currently working on. It's Ryleigh's blanket. And for those of you who don't know, Ryleigh is my youngest granddaughter, who is 2 years old. And I started making her a blanket. And then, if you all know, I had a bunch of other stuff in between that I had to do that I couldn't really work on it. So this week, anytime I crocheted, it was completely monogamous. I did nothing else but crocheted her blanket. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about Ryleigh's blanket. So let me give you an update on how she looks and how she's doing, and then I'll tell you what I got to do. Because of course, I thought I had enough yarn, but I'm not going to have enough yarn. So I'm going to share with you guys what my plans are to do with this blanket to make it long enough. So here she is. I think she is coming out fantastic. Now, right there at the stitch marker, let me see if I can see it. Right there at the stitch marker is where I was the last time we were discussing this blanket. And this is how much I've gotten done since then. I have been busting my butt on this. Now, for those of you who might be out there going, well, that doesn't look like very much. There is 220 stitches in each one of these rows. So I don't even know how many I did. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 rows this week. So I think I did a pretty good job. I'm pretty happy with it. And I measured it because I don't think I've told you guys how wide it is. I wanted to make sure I made her a little bit extra wide blanket. This measures 40 inches. So my goal, I didn't measure it really when I was making the chain. I just kind of made the chain and I went, yeah, that looks good. I wasn't concerned about really measuring it. But the reason why I wasn't really concerned is because I really thought I had plenty of yarn to make a decent size blanket. Now, what happened is as I was going along this week, as I think it was on Wednesday night, is when I kind of figured, this blanket is not going to be long enough for my liking. Okay, so I kind of did a little bit of math, and well, first I looked at my yarn, and I looked at it like this. As you can see, whoops, it looks a little messy. It's a little messy inside here, but this is what's left of this cake right here. And as you see, it looks like it's about halfway used up. Am I right? So eyeballing it, I was like, you know what? If I've used half of this yarn, let me measure how long this is. And when I measured this, it only measured 16 inches. So just, you know, basic math, 16 and 16 is 32. 32 inches long by 40 inches wide. That would kind of, for me, I didn't want it to be that way. I would rather have the blanket longer and not as wide. You know, like I would rather have it rectangle that way. And because it's a wavy stitch like this, it's not like you can turn it this way and go, ta-da, it's fine. And especially because it's ombreing, this is really the only proper way, for me, in my eyes, that this blanket is to be used. You know, either, you know, this way or that. You know, it has to be held this way because of the ripple stitch and because of the way it ombres. So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So first I started going on the My Melody Etsy shop that I bought this yarn from. And this yarn, just so you guys know, this yarn is similar to Hobie's, is it the Twister? I think it's Twister, and or a couple other things like the It's a Wrap Rainbow, It's a Wrap Sprinkles, and also back when Lion Brand had one, it was called Ombre Life. And so this is constructed of 4 single threads that are not wound together. They're just 4 threads that kind of sit together like this. And the way it ombres is it has 1 color of this, 3 colors of one, 1 color of another color. And as it ombres, it goes to 2 colors of one, and then 2 colors of another. And then it switches to 3 colors and 1 color, and then to all 4 colors. Like right now, as I'm working this, whoops, let me bring it up for you guys. So now as I'm working this, we are completely on 4 of the same color. So right now, all my rows up in here are solid colors. I know it's like blown out a little bit, but that's all solid. This is like a solid corally color right now. And if you can see down here, this here is where it started off, where it had 3 of this like light peachy yellow and only 1 of this darker coral, and then 2 peachy, 2 coral, 3 coral, 1 peachy, and then up here where it was just, now we're at the solid color. Now, I think it works, the way it works is there's a little bit more solid color than there is of like the transitional colors. I believe you get a little bit of a longer, like my solid color portion will be a little bit more than the transitions here. I don't know if you can tell like where it transitions from, you know, the lighter to the color here. I can see it a little bit, you know, I can see a little bit of the transitioning going on. So I was like, what am I going to do? I couldn't find really, I was trying to think, should I just get a solid color that's similar to this, throw it in the middle, make the middle longer with just more solid with this corally color, but I couldn't even find that on her website. Plus, you know, I didn't want to wait. I want to get this blanket done. I want it done. I'm hoping it's going to be done this week, hopefully, but I want to get it done soon, quickly. And so I'm kind of stuck right now. I can't move any further. So what did I do? I started thinking to myself, what do you have in your stash that you could work or make this work? So in my stash, I have three different colors of It's a Wrap. So the colors that I have in the It's a Wrap rainbow that I bought, I don't know how long ago, were Couture or something like that, Foggy, and Whisper. So when I looked at the Whisper one, it has like tones of green and stuff in it. It's pretty and everything, but I was like, no, that's not going to work. I don't want to put that into here. So then I looked at the Couture, but that is like a really darkish color. It has a lot of like deep like mixtures of blacks and teals and grays, kind of beautiful. And I bought that. When I bought that, in my head, I definitely want to make a light summery type top. So that's my plans for that. And then the Foggy one was nice because I was thinking about using that one because it has tans, grays, and kind of like a white, creamy white color in the middle. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I could use the tan and stuff like that. But then I thought to myself, wait a minute, I also have some Ombre Life. Now, the only Ombre Life, I'll show you. The only Ombre Life that I have three cakes of the Ombre Life. The Ombre Life, here's the ball band. The Ombre Life, it's called Midnight. And it's the same construction. It's 50% acrylic, 50% cotton. So it's this, and it's, you know, constructed the same way with the 4 threads that, you know, switch, change, and everything like that. So that particular color, Midnight, has black, and then it goes from black to a grayish to gray to like more of like a white, not white, but gray, like maybe a lighter gray, foggy gray, and then to almost like a silver, I guess you could call it. So I thought that might be good too. So what I did is, first I went to a couple of my wonderful friends, Natalie from Natalie's Closet, Catherine from Cath's Eye Catchers, and Reggie from J Hook Crochet. I sent them pictures. I went on and I threw some stitches of each one. I threw about 8 stitches of the Couture, 8 stitches of the Foggy It's a Wrap, and 8 stitches of the Ombre Life in Midnight. And with just to see like what it would look like up against this color. So I asked them, I was like, hey, what do you guys think? Which one looks best? Now in my head, I kind of thought maybe the Ombre Life because of the grays, you know, and gray and coral go together. But then Reggie says, oh, I like the tan. And I was like, yeah, that looks good too. So I was like, I don't know what to do now. So what I decided to do, I said, let me go on Google. And what I did is in Google, I typed in dark coral and tan. And then what came up was like a bunch of different images of bedroom sets, clothing, just, you know, like different things that had a coral and a tan mixture in it. Sometimes it was paints, like painted walls and things like that. And when I looked at it, there wasn't that many. If there was coral and tan, usually there was another color in between, you know, that kind of like it was coral tan and maybe like an aqua or a teal or something like that. So I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. You know, it was like the bright teal, like ocean Bahamas teal water type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like this, like it had a really, right here. So it had like a really bright, deep aqua tealish color. And then the coral, and then like for accent, it had some tan. So I was like, well, you know, let me look up dark coral and gray. And here's a couple of the pictures that I got. I'm going to show them to you, and this is what made my decision. So there was this jacket right here, and as you can see, the coral arms, and it even has 2 different kind of grays with it. And I thought, okay, that looks really good together. And then I saw this bathroom right here, and as you can see, the coral and the grays walls together, plus they had some other things. They had you know, just other clothing items in general that had coral and gray right on top of each other mixed. And I went, okay, so that's what made me make the decision to get the Ombre Life and use the gray. Here's the thing. Ombre Life, if you ever look at it, I don't know if I have a picture of it. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. So here's the picture. That's the picture of how it looks in the cake. Can you see how it works up? It's the same way where you have in the middle, you have the lighter color, and then it works its way out into the darker color. This was the pictures I was sending to my friends and saying, help me, I need to figure out what to do. So, yeah, so that's this coral right there with this very lightish, almost like a silvery gray. Then here it was with the It's a Wrap rainbow with like that light tan color. And then just so you see, this was the middle of the couture color, the It's a Wrap couture. So this is how I was making my decision. I had no other way to do this because I could not figure it out. Believe me. But like I said, I saw that picture with the grays and I went, okay, so I'm going to go with the Ombre Life. But I don't want the black at all. I don't want any of the black. And then I don't want to just jump into gray and like gray that ombres and then be done with it and then go back into this coral color, because I didn't want it to go like this coral color and then go dark gray, light gray to the lightest gray and then jump back into the coral. I just didn't want to do that. So this is what I've decided, and it took me about an hour to get it all prepared. So now it's ready, and I'm going to show y'all what the plans are, and bear with me. Okay, so I am going to actually right here, as you can see, I was starting a row right here. I'm going to actually rip this back, and my next row, I'm eyeballing everything now. I didn't mention how I figured out how I wasn't going to have enough yarn. Let me take you back a couple of steps. So the reason why I was worried about not having enough yarn was because, like I said, I figured I was about halfway through, and actually I'm a little bit more than halfway through. I weighed this, and this was a 300 gram cake, and I have 121 grams left. So this so far has used more than 150 grams. So that means I don't have, half of that left. I'm close, probably close enough. I'm not going to get too crazy. I'm not ripping back until I have 150 grams. Okay, so let's just put it that way. But I'm going to rip back until I get to right there. Okay, and then, I took the cake apart. So there's the outside. This is the outside black. And then I didn't want any black at all in this. So what I did is I started winding this up until, and now you see there's grays here, but I kept winding until I saw no more black. So as you can see, right here, let me see, was where the black stopped, and then it went all into gray right here. So I was a little bit off, but everything I was doing, I was, trying to watch the colors as I was winding it to try to get it where I needed it. So I stopped. Now I have all this to use for another project, so I will use it eventually. So what I did was, at that point, I stopped and I grabbed all this darker gray. This was the next color that came up, and this is just all gray. There are no other colors in here. So my plans are using half of this. I'm going to start with the darker, because since this is a darker coral, I'm going to put half of this in next. Then here's where it started bringing in one strand of white. Can you see the little one strand of white in there? I know it might be hard to see. In here we have 3 of the grays and 1 strand of white. And so I'm going to use half of this. Then I went and I cut it to where we had 2 white, or I'm going to say white, but I think it's a light silver. So 2 white and 2 gray. So I'm going to use half of that. And then here's where we have 3 white and 1 gray. I'm going to use half of this. Then this is all of that, I'll say white. It's kind of blowing out white, but literally this is like a silvery color. And I don't know if you can tell. This is not pure white. This is more of a silver color, okay? So it's it blows out in the camera, but maybe you can see it here a little bit. It's more of a silvery color. So I'm gonna use all of this. So after I do half, 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 I'm gonna use this whole entire thing. So this will be, then I'm gonna go the opposite way and then finish up this one, finish up this one, finish up this one, and then end with this one. So that is my plan. I'm going to start out with the darker gray, ombre into the lightest, then ombre reverse from lightest to darkest. So after I do the ombreing from the dark to the light, and then the light all the way to the dark, and hopefully that'll give me approximately 10 more inches, then I'm going to reattach, and it'll be still at the very darkest corally color, and then go from the coral and let this finish up. And of course, this one ends in like this really like light purpley color. It doesn't ombre the reverse like I'm doing with this, but that's my plans, and I am hoping it's going to work out and look really good. I think it's going to be fine. You guys, what do you think? Do you think I made a good decision with that? Just based on the pictures and how I'm working it. I just want it to be smooth. I don't want it to be choppy, and I don't want it to look like I'm just slamming some things into there, because I'm hoping this will be her blanket for a while, you know, especially with all the work I'm putting. This is a labor of love, definitely. So Ryleigh, when you watch Grandma in the future, your blanket was a labor of love for you. So hopefully that'll work out. So that is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be working on that this week. And I don't know. I don't know at this point now, because you guys know the plan. But should I make you guys wait until I'm completely finished with the blanket to do the big reveal? Maybe I'll do that. So this week coming up, I know last week I said I was going to work on my knitting, but I really got into let me be monogamous and get this blanket done. But I think I'm going to do a little bit of knitting in between, so I can show you guys some progress on some of my knitting that I'm doing. And that'll be next week's video. So surprise, cliffhanger, next week's video will be, or I might even have a couple of crocheted items finished too, because I do have a couple of things that I need to get done that are very small projects, and maybe I'll get some of those done. But I'm thinking, what do you guys, I want your guys' opinion. Do you want me now that you know what I'm doing, do you want me to totally wait until this blanket is now completed before I do the big reveal? Or do you guys want me to reveal what it looks like with the gray before I continue on, if I don't get it finished this week? Which I'm about 30% thinking that it's probably not going to get finished, because it's a lot of stitches, guys. I mean, you figure you put 10 rows, 220 stitches across in 10 rows, that's 2,200 stitches. That's a lot of crocheting, guys, in a week, in 1 week. And I put in, what did I say? Did I put in like 15, 16 rows? So I did a lot of crocheting this week, guys. Yes, I did. So fingering weight always takes a little bit longer. It's more of a process. It's not really a woo completed object. This is something that if you guys are into working with fingering weight, or you've never worked with fingering weight before and you're curious about it, because if you go watch other people that talk about their makes and their finished objects, many times their objects are made with either like a 4 weight or even bigger 5 weight, 6 weight, you know, chunkier yarn that moves quickly. You can get a project, you can get a mid-sized project done in a matter of maybe 3 days, compared to when you're working with fingering weight yarn. For those of you considering working with fingering weight yarn, it is wonderful. I'm going to say that I like it because my hands don't hurt as badly working with like the smaller yarn and the smaller hooks. It's nice. It's more of a gentle. Whereas like if I work with like a bulky 6, I feel like I really have to hold the hand, the hooks are so bulky and it's not relaxing as much. Like I do it, but I don't enjoy working with a bulky 6 as much. I like DK weights and below. And I don't mind working with the worsted weight, but DK and below is my favorite to work with. And if you're thinking about working with fingering weight, this is just lovely. I mean, look at the drape on this. And I believe this is going to be warm, but not excessively warm. It's not heavy. It feels so nice. So give it a try, guys. It's not bad. It's just a process and it's a little bit more time consuming, but I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving working with my fingering weight yarns. As you saw, I'm going to be working on my shawl again, which that's a fingering weight yarn. I'm knitting with some fingering weight yarn. I've really kind of turned into someone who enjoys working with it. And if you want, yeah, you might have to wear a shirt or something under it, but you can make some beautiful, light, airy projects using fingering weight yarn and a larger hook. You can make like a really lovely drapey shawl or a top, like a cover-up type top. Really, 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 you have a lot of options. Or you can hold a couple of fingering weights together and get nice, all kinds of different effects, and a couple of fingering weights together, kind of like a sport weight. Like a very thin DK to a sport weight, definitely. So if you're on the fence about it and you're not sure, give it a go. See how you like it. Anyway, so that is all I have this week for you guys. That's it. That's what I was working on. That's what I'm doing with her blanket. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you think that's going to look okay? Like in my head, it's working out really nicely. In my head, it looks great. What it's going to end up looking like for real, I'll just have to do it and find out and hope and pray for the best, guys. So, yeah, that's it, guys. So after I'm done here in just a second, I'm going to leave a little bit of video that I took when I went Wednesday to the pier. And I took a little bit of video. I had to leave before the sun was setting. Usually you can watch the sunset, but for whatever reason, the no-see-ums came out, and no-see-ums in Florida, just for all you who are wondering what a no-see-um is, it is basically teeth with wings. They are little gnats that bite, and I mean, you can't see them, so hence the name no-see-ums. But they come out sometimes. It was low tide, so they were probably going all in the, you know, where the rocks and the seaweedy stuff is, and bird droppings and stuff, and they were probably all just kind of like there. And then anytime a person walks around, when you walk around an area that has no see-ums, they will attack you. They're like biting little gnats, and they're horrible, and they itch like crazy, and they go right in your face. So that's what was happening. I took a little bit of video. I was working on the blanket, and then I was starting to get them flying in my face and biting me, and I was like, God, I'm not going to even be able to stay until sunset, as I wanted to give you guys some video of sunset, but it was getting too bad. So I quickly walked around and I took a little bit of video, and I'm going to leave it at the end. If you want to watch it, it'll be after I say bye, guys. Love you. Take care. And I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy. And hey, guys, stay creative, guys. I love you guys, and I'll be talking to you guys really soon. Bye.